Hi guys, welcome to another knife review. Today I'll be testing and reviewing the Schrade SCH502. Before we get into the testing and review itself, I'm going to flash the specs of the knife on screen, so you can pause right about now, check out the specs, and then we can get on with our review. Now we're going to go through some of the features of the knife, starting with the opening. There's two ways to open this knife, the flipper and the ambidextrous thumb studs. Personally, I like to use the flipper as it's much faster and smoother in terms of opening. You can use the ambidextrous thumb studs if you want to, but I find the flipper much better. Now we can look at the handle. The handle is an aluminum handle with the G10 inserts. Now compared to its younger brother, the SCH501, the handle is a big improvement. The SCH501 was a full G10 handle with a stainless steel insert where this G10 insert is supposed to be. It was really uncomfortable, and if you choked up on it or bear it down really hard without wearing gloves or use it for long periods of time, it'll really hurt your hand. The 502 is a big improvement, but it is still a bit uncomfortable because the edges are still slightly sharp. But it's in terms of comparison with the 501, it's a big improvement. Also, this is a rather hefty big knife, so it might weigh you down in the pocket. So if you don't want to carry it in your pocket, one clever thing that Schrade did was instead of using a standard pocket clip, they use a really strong belt clip. So if you want, you can put it in your pocket, but you do have the option on carrying it on your belt if you find that it's a bit too heavy or there's not enough space in your pocket. One more thing, on the blade itself, there is no choil. Choil is a notch which is supposed to be right here that makes it easier to sharpen your knife, and it's just wants to let you know that there's no choil here, so it's gonna be slightly harder to sharpen your knife compared to a knife that has a choil. The jimping on the spine and in front right here makes the knife really grippy but slightly uncomfortable. The reason there's jimping right in front here is so you can hold it in a reverse position and it can be really comfortable right there. In fact, I think it's more comfortable if you hold it in the reverse grip than the standard grip, which is slightly funny, but you know, that means it's just good news if you need to use it in a reverse grip. There is no jimping on the liner here, which is good news for your forefinger because it won't get torn up. Also, it comes in a serrated blade, this knife, and one interesting feature it has is at the back here, there's a pommel or glass breaker, which can be used to break glass, smash windows, and it's a very interesting feature if you're in law enforcement and let's say you need to break out of a car window and need to help someone out. And if you combine it with the serrated model of the knife, which can be used for cutting ropes or seat belts, this is a really great tool for law enforcement or civil defense. Personally, I don't like serrations because I don't use it that much. I find that using a plain edge blade is more suitable for me. But if you do prefer a serrated edge blade, there is an option on getting it. So these are some of the features of the knife. Now I'm going to test the knife, and before the video ends, I'm going to go through some final impressions and give it a rating. Alright guys, now we're going to test the knife, and we're going to start off with some paper right here. As you can see, generally very nice clean cuts, which shows a very sharp edge. Now we're gonna move on to some thin cardboard, which shouldn't be a problem for this knife. Nope, no problem at all. But we're gonna move on to some thicker cardboard. Now this is about, well, as you can see, it's a lot thicker, maybe about 4 or 5 times, and it's also been reinforced with a bit of tape. So we're gonna slice it and see how it does. Very impressive, very smooth, clean cuts. Now, try some paracord. And double it up. No problem at all. And a twig. We're gonna feather this twig to see how it would do in sort of an outdoor utility knife. Not bad. As you can see here, the twig has been feathered, and it's not bad at all. Now finally, what we're going to test the knife on is me. So we're going to see if the knife is capable of shaving hairs off my arm. As you can see here, it was able to shave hair off my arm, which proved that it is razor sharp and able to shave hairs. So I'd say I'm very impressed with the edge on this knife. It's a very sharp knife, and 9CR18 steel, it's going to hold that edge slightly longer than 8CR13, which I'm very happy with. Alright, now that we've gone through the testing of the knife, I'm just going to go through some final impressions, which will be sort of like a summary to the video. Now the blade is razor sharp. 9CR18 steel will hold its edge much better than 8CR13 and even AUS8, as I've said before. And as you can see in the testing, it could actually shave the hair off the back of my arm, which proves that it's a very sharp knife. And hopefully it'll hold its edge very long, for a very long time. Sorry about that. And one more thing I've mentioned before is the thick handle. Great in hand, but not so good in pocket, which is solved by the belt clip, which gives you an extra option to hang it on your belt. The jimping, as I've said, makes it grippy but slightly uncomfortable, but it's much better than its younger brother. The knife opens out smoothly and quickly with the flipper, and still quite smooth, just not as fast for the ambidextrous thumb studs. The weight, 5.2 ounces, is slightly heavy for some people, but it depends on you. For me, it's slightly heavy, but still manageable. And the liners of this knife, I forgot to mention, they are not skeletonized, so there's no holes or pieces taken out of the liner, which is a shame because it would make it much lighter if they did that. The belt clip carries quite deep, but it's only one position. You can't flip it around, you can't go left and right, you can't go top and bottom. So that's a disappointment, but the belt clip, I'm very impressed with that belt clip. It's very solid. So now for the rating. I think I will rate this knife an 8 out of 10, with the biggest issues being that it's slightly large and slightly uncomfortable. And the best things about this knife, it's the price, the sharpness, the opening, the solid build, and in my opinion, a very nice choice of knife steel. This knife is an excellent choice for law enforcement, with the choice of a serrated blade and the glass breaker, and because it is quite a large, it's a larger size knife, it is good for law enforcement or civil defense or something like that. It is a great general purpose utility knife to carry around with you, have it around the house. If you need a knife, it's a very capable blade. It's slightly heavy for EDC, but it depends on you once again. If you like larger knives for EDC, then this is an excellent option. If you want a smaller knife for EDC, then you might want to look somewhere else. So for comparison, what can I compare it with? Just give me a second. This is a knife that I've reviewed earlier. This is a Enlin B L01. It is slightly lighter, but it's around the same size as well. It also is a bit cheaper, so if you can compare it side by side right here, you can see it's slightly smaller, although roughly the same size, but it is much lighter. Thank you for watching my review of the Schrade SCH502. If you're interested in picking up this knife, I have some links in the description below where you can find it. Also, if you want more knife reviews, you can head over to my channel and find some. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And for all you fellow knife lovers out there, stay sharp.